You know approximately what you earned this month. You know roughly what you spent it on. And the number in your account right now is lower than the number you expected, and you cannot fully explain why. You go through the transactions trying to account for it. The rent, the groceries, the one dinner out that felt completely reasonable at the time, and the maths never quite adds up. There is always a figure that is missing. Money went somewhere you cannot name, and it has been going there for months. Rachel is 33 and works in Boston, and she had exactly this experience for 4 years before she sat down one afternoon and completed the 30-day audit this video is going to walk you through. What she found was $527 per month leaving her account in ways she had never consciously chosen, not because she was reckless, but because she had a system that told her what happened after the fact, and no system that decided what happened before it. This video gives you that second system, the one that decides where your money goes before the month starts, so that the number in your account at the end of it is the number you expected. We are going to build it together right now. The reason every budgeting attempt you have tried before did not produce a lasting change is not willpower, and it is not maths. It is timing. Reviewing what you spent at the end of the month is like reading the final score of a game you already lost and trying to use that information to win it. The decisions are already made, and the money is already gone. The system that actually changes what you spend is the one that moves the decision to before the money arrives rather than after it leaves. That system has a name, a specific process that takes 45 minutes to set up the first time, and 3 tools in 2026 that make it genuinely maintainable. We are covering all of it. Quick note before we start. If this is your first time here, subscribe now. Capital Notes publishes one practical personal finance video every week. Hit subscribe and the bell so you do not miss the next one. Now the system. Now this is why every budgeting attempt you have tried before failed. Think about the last time you tried to budget and stopped. The most common version of that story goes like this. You built the budget on a Sunday with genuine intention. You tracked spending for a week or two with reasonable consistency, and then something broke the routine. A busy week, an unexpected cost, a social event that did not fit any category, and the whole system collapsed because the effort of maintaining it had exceeded the immediate benefit you could feel from it. You have probably tried this more than once. The spreadsheet you built and abandoned by Wednesday. The app you downloaded and used for 3 weeks before it became something you avoided opening. The period at the start of each year when you resolved to do it properly and lasted until February. None of those attempts failed because you lacked discipline. They failed because they were all built on retrospective tracking, which means recording what happened after it happened. And that approach is the financial equivalent of trying to lose weight by writing down everything you ate after you ate it. The record is accurate and the behavior does not change. The reason retrospective tracking does not change behavior is structural. When you review last month's transactions, you are looking at a record of decisions that are completely final. Nothing you do with that record changes what has already been spent. The review might produce a moment of genuine surprise, the subscription total that is larger than you realized, the food delivery frequency you had not added up, the categories where the gap between what you believed you spent and what you actually spent is significant. Rachel's version of that moment produced a figure of $527. Your version of that moment is waiting in your last 30 days of transactions right now. But the moment of surprise, however useful it feels, does not produce a different outcome the following month unless the system itself changes. The system that produces a different outcome is the one that makes the decision before the money arrives rather than after it leaves. Now the question is, how do you build a zero-based budget in few minutes? Here is exactly how you build a zero-based budget and why it works where everything else you have tried has not. You start with your total monthly take-home income at the top, which means the actual amount that arrives in your account after tax, not your gross salary. Write it down or type it into a fresh spreadsheet right now if you are the kind of person who does things as they hear them. Then you list every category of spending your life actually contains, starting with the non-negotiables. Housing, utilities, groceries based on what you actually spent last month rather than what you wish you spent, transport, phone, and every subscription you are currently aware of. Then the discretionary categories, dining out, clothing, entertainment, whatever your life genuinely includes. Then the financial goal categories, your emergency buffer contribution if you are still building it, your debt minimum payments, and any savings goal you are actively working toward. Every single category gets a specific dollar amount assigned to it. Not a range, but a real number that reflects what you genuinely intend to spend this month. Now you subtract the total of all your categories from your income. If the result is a positive number, you assign the surplus to an additional goal, faster debt repayment, or additional savings, and keep subtracting until the result is zero. If the result is negative, you reduce a category until it is not. When the result is zero, every dollar arriving in your account this month has a specific destination waiting for it before the month starts. The zero at the bottom is not a problem. It is confirmation that the allocation is complete, and nothing is sitting unassigned waiting to drift into the category of spending you cannot explain at the end of the month. This takes approximately 45 minutes the first time you build it, and around 15 minutes in subsequent months once your categories are established. The first month is the hardest, because you are working from estimates rather than from real data, and that is exactly what the 30-day audit fixes. Before you build your first zero-based budget, there is one preparatory step that takes one afternoon and makes every budget that follows significantly more accurate. Go back through the last 30 days of transactions in your bank account and credit card statements and categorize every single item. What you are looking for is not confirmation of the spending you already know about. You are looking for the categories you did not realize existed and the amounts in the categories you consistently underestimate when you picture your own spending from memory. Rachel's audit found $187 per month in subscriptions she had forgotten about, including a meditation app she had not opened in 7 months, a professional tool she had used for one project 2 years earlier and never canceled, and a streaming service that had converted from a free trial without her noticing. Her audit also found $340 per month in food delivery and dining spending that she had estimated at $120 before sitting down with the actual transactions. The audit does not require you to change anything yet. It simply gives you the accurate baseline that turns your first zero-based budget from a guess into a plan. Do this tonight before you build the budget. This is an action you can take right now. Open your banking app tonight and pull up the last 30 days of transactions. Categorize every item into no more than 12 categories. Total each category. That total is your real baseline, and it is almost certainly different from what you would have estimated from memory. Now that you know what the system is and what your real spending baseline looks like, you need a tool to run it. There are 3 tools that dominate this space in 2026, and choosing the right one for your situation matters, because choosing the wrong one is one of the most common reasons people try to budget and quit before it actually works. Here is the honest version of how each one functions rather than the marketing version. YNAB is the tool I would recommend first to anyone who genuinely wants their spending to change rather than just wanting to understand what it currently looks like. Every other budgeting tool shows you what happened last month. YNAB asks you what you want to happen this month and then holds you to it in real time. When money comes into your account, you open YNAB and you assign it. This amount goes to rent, this amount to groceries, this amount to the emergency buffer. When you spend money, you assign the transaction to a category and you watch the available amount in that category reduce immediately. When a category runs low mid-month, YNAB asks you to make a deliberate decision. Do you reduce spending in this category for the rest of the month, or do you move money from another category to cover it? That moment of active decision at the point of spending is what separates YNAB from every other tool on this list. You are never reviewing a chart of what happened. You are making a choice about what is happening right now. Kevin had tried budgeting 3 times before he found YNAB. He had used a tracking app that accurately showed him what he spent every month without changing what he spent the following month. He had built a spreadsheet he maintained faithfully for 11 days before the effort of keeping it became inconvenient enough to stop. When he started YNAB's free trial, he described the experience as the first time he was ever aware, in real time, of the exact moment he was making a financial trade-off, when ordering dinner was happening instead of saving, when a purchase was happening instead of a debt payment. In his first month, he did not spend less across every category. But by month 3, his financial position had changed measurably, without him wanting different things. The system created the awareness, and the awareness changed the behavior over time. The honest downside of YNAB is its learning curve. Most people who quit it do so in the first 2 weeks before the system has become habitual. Most people who persist past 30 days continue using it for years. The free trial covers the full first month, which is enough time to find out whether the approach works for you. Every dollar is the right choice if YNAB feels like too much of a commitment up front, or if the annual cost is a genuine barrier right now. A free version requires you to type in each expense manually as it occurs, rather than having it sync automatically from your bank. That sounds less convenient than automatic syncing, but it has a genuine advantage that is worth knowing about. Having to type in a $47 restaurant bill while you are still sitting at the table creates a brief moment of awareness that automatic syncing simply does not produce. You cannot unconsciously spend inside every dollar the way you can inside a tool that records everything in the background without requiring any input from you. The paid version adds bank syncing at a price point slightly below YNAB. Every dollar is also the natural choice if you are already following Dave Ramsey's debt payoff approach, since the two systems are built to work together with consistent language throughout. The limitation worth knowing is that if your income varies significantly from month to month, whether through freelance work, commission, or seasonal employment, every dollar handles that variability less elegantly than YNAB does, because YNAB is specifically designed to let you budget only the money you actually have in hand, rather than money you expect to receive. Before the third tool, here is something to hold in mind. You already know Rachel found $527 per month in her audit. What you have not yet heard is the fourth discovery she made that morning, which was the one that changed what she did with the money more than any of the dollar figures did. That part of her story is coming in about 4 minutes, and it is worth staying for. Mint is another tool but shut down in early 2024, and the people who relied on it for free spending tracking have mainly moved to 3 alternatives worth knowing about. Monarch Money is the closest functional replacement with clean automatic categorization and an interface that most Mint users find immediately familiar. Copilot is an iOS-only option with a particularly well-designed interface and smarter automatic transaction categorization than most tools in this category. NerdWallet offers a free personal finance dashboard that covers basic spending tracking with no subscription cost at all. All 3 are linked in the description below. Honest truth about this category of tools is that automatic categorization is genuinely useful for the audit function, for understanding the current shape of your spending, but it is less effective at changing your spending than the planning first approach of YNAB or Every Dollar. If understanding your current baseline is the first goal, any of these 3 is a reasonable starting point. If actually spending differently next month is the goal, the planning first approach will produce a better result over 6 months than any automatic tracker, because recording what happens is different from deciding what happens. I know you are now wondering, which tool is right for your situation? 3 questions will tell you which tool to use, and they work in sequence. The first is whether your goal right now is understanding what you have been spending or actively planning what you are going to spend. If understanding is the goal, start with one of the free alternatives to get your accurate baseline before committing to a planning tool. If change is the goal, go directly to YNAB or Every Dollar. The second question is whether paying for a tool is currently an option. If yes, and you are serious about changing your financial behavior over the next 12 months, YNAB is the stronger choice. If free is a hard constraint right now, Every Dollar's free tier is the better planning option. The third question is whether your income arrives in regular amounts or varies significantly from month to month. Regular income works well with either planning tool. Variable income is handled more elegantly by YNAB because it only ever asks you to allocate money you currently have in your account rather than money you are expecting to arrive. Let's look at Rachel's story and what it can tell us about the 30 days audit. Rachel completed her 30-day audit on a Saturday morning in February. She is 33, works as a marketing coordinator in Boston, earning $62,000 a year, and had tried budgeting twice before without it producing any lasting change. The first discovery was $187 per month in subscriptions she had forgotten about, including a meditation app she had not opened in 7 months. A professional software tool she had used for one project 2 years earlier and never canceled, and a streaming service that had converted from a free trial without her noticing. The second discovery was $340 per month in food delivery and dining spending that she had estimated at $120 before sitting down with the actual transactions. Those 2 figures together produced the $527. The third discovery was that after canceling the forgotten subscriptions and reducing her food delivery from 4 times a week to once, she had identified $215 per month that had been leaving her account without her having consciously chosen where it went. That is the financial result of the audit, and it is significant on its own. The fourth discovery was the one that changed what she did with the $215 more than any of the dollar figures did. She had been spending $0 per month on anything that reflected what she actually wanted her money to accomplish, nothing toward the trip she had been planning to take for 2 years or the course she had been meaning to start, nothing that represented a deliberate choice about what her money was for rather than what it had defaulted to. She redirected $100 of the $215 to her emergency buffer, which she had not yet finished building, and $115 to a savings account she named specifically for the trip. Within 4 months, she had booked it. The money had been there the entire time. It had simply been going somewhere she had not chosen. Before we wrap up, there is one category that breaks more budgets than any other, and that most budgeting advice either skips entirely or mentions in a single sentence without explaining why it matters so much. It is the irregular expense, meaning the cost that does not appear every month but is entirely predictable if you plan a year ahead rather than a month at a time. Your annual insurance renewal. The holiday season spending across gifts, food, and travel. The dentist appointment that happens once a year. The large subscription that auto-renews every January without you thinking about it until it appears on the statement. None of these are genuine emergencies. None of them are unforeseeable. They are simply irregular, which means they fall outside the monthly cycle most people budget within and arrive as apparent surprises even though they were completely predictable 12 months earlier. When they arrive without a plan, they either go on a credit card or they knock out whatever other financial progress you were making that month. The fix is the sinking fund, which is a budget category that accumulates a small amount every month specifically to cover a known future irregular expense. If your annual insurance renewal costs $600, your budget includes $50 per month labeled insurance renewal. And when the bill arrives, the money is already there waiting for it. If the holiday season reliably costs you $800 across gifts, food, and travel, your budget includes $67 per month from January onward. And by December, you are not scrambling to cover it because the money has been arriving in small installments all year. The sinking fund converts irregular large expenses into predictable small monthly contributions and eliminates the category that most reliably derails people who budget well for their monthly costs but have not yet planned for their annual ones. Both ENAB and EveryDollar support sinking funds natively, and setting them up takes under 20 minutes once you have listed your known annual expenses. What can you do right this moment? List every irregular expense you can predict for the next 12 months, including insurance renewals, annual subscriptions, seasonal spending, and any registration or license costs. Total them. Divide by 12. Add that monthly figure to your budget as a sinking fund category starting this month. 3 actions tonight before you close this video. The first is to open your banking app right now and pull up the last 30 days of transactions. Categorize every item into no more than 12 categories and total each one. That audit is the foundation of everything else, and it takes 90 minutes. Do it tonight while the information from this video is still fresh enough to make it feel urgent rather than optional. The second action is to choose one tool from the 3 covered in this video and download it before you go to sleep. If you want your spending to actually change rather than just be recorded, download YNAB's free trial and give it the full 30 days before making a judgment. If you want zero-based budgeting without the annual cost or the learning curve, download EveryDollar. If understanding your current baseline is the first step, download Monarch Money or NerdWallet. All 4 are linked in the description below. The third action is to list every irregular expense you expect in the next 12 months, total them, divide by 12, and add that monthly amount to your budget as a sinking fund starting tonight. That single addition will prevent more budget disruptions in the coming year than almost any other decision you make this evening. To talk about the actions from this videos again. Action 1. Complete the 30-day audit tonight. Every transaction categorized and totaled. 90 minutes. Action 2. Download one budgeting tool before you go to sleep. Links are in the description. Action 3. List your known annual irregular expenses tonight. Divide the total by 12. Add a sinking fund line to your budget. Once you know where your money goes, and you have a system that decides where it goes before it arrives, the next question most people face is this. Is saving $10,000 in the next 12 months actually possible on my salary, given everything I am currently committed to? The next video on this channel answers that question with a specific month-by-month breakdown, showing you the exact amount to set aside each month, the sequence of moves that gets you there faster than you expect, and the moment around month 4 when almost everyone nearly stops, and the specific reason they should not. That video is already on this channel, and the link is on the end screen right now. Subscribe to Capital Notes. One practical personal finance video regularly. Open the banking app tonight and start the audit before you do anything else. I will see you in the next one.